it's trial and error. I've learned, though, hello, we are now live, to always at the very top mention what we're here for. We are here for the longhand letter writing group. Because in the past I've done lives and I started just chatting about completely other things, and then that's the AI headline of the live, like nothing to do. I did one with Luke Deasy the other day. We were supposed to be talking about Ask My Stack, but we started off talking about addiction. So the headline was "How I Conquered Addiction." Literally, the live wasn't supposed to be that.
Oh, does it just read it? It just reads it, and then
I think so. We'll find out
an
now
AI
whether
thing.
it'll be just be me laughing, telling you a stupid story. I mean, who
And me
cares?
saying I'm eating licorice, all sorts. What are we doing?
Exactly.
What do I do? What do we do next?
What do I do?
You know what to
Hello,
do.
everyone coming in. Hello, hello, hello. Can you see them all? They're all pouring in to our right. So I am here. I'm just going to do that. I'm here with Fiona Melrose, who is, and I never do intros, but I'm going to do one for you just off the top of my head.
Yay.
Fiona's an award-winning novelist. And has written, I mean, your last novel, can you just remind me what it was called? Even Beyond
Even
Death?
Beyond Death, yeah.
Oh, can I just say, everybody, if anyone's looking for a fantastic gay pirate romp set in the 17th century?
Yeah, 16.
Yeah, 16th, just by Even Beyond Death. It's fantastic, as are Midwinter and Johannesburg.
Thank
And
you.
which one was Women's Prize listed?
Midwinter.
Midwinter. So good. So that's just a bit of a shine the light on Fiona, because Fiona is a marvelous teacher and it comes from a wealth of experience. She actually does do the do. How are you, my darling?
I'm all right. I'm all right. I've had a busy day, but I've been looking forward to this because I was thinking I just want to have a little chat with you and have a nice time. So that's a nice thing to look forward to.
Yeah, me too. And talk about letters.
Yeah.
So when I was advertising this, I said 3 things happened. I was chatting with my friend Susie Mawhinney, and she was telling me that I think Norway is ending their postal service, and at the same time, I think we had been chatting on Zoom, and I wrote you a letter.
Yeah,
and then you received my letter and one from Andrew Willey on the same day, and then you announced that you were creating the longhand letter writing group, and that just feels so auspicious, everything
I'm
coming
serendipitous.
together.
Yeah, I was up a mountain thinking, like, I really want to do this thing. I have all my thoughts when I'm walking my dog.
Yeah.
And I got back and there was a letter from you. Well, I sort of went back past. There was a letter from you, a letter from Andrew Willey. And I thought, this is a go ahead for me. And and I wasn't expecting. Andrew writes me lovely.
He has the most beautiful handwriting.
He wrote me gorgeous. He always writes me gorgeous letters, but I hadn't expected one from you at all. It was such a surprise. Yeah.
Well, after we got off that Zoom, I don't know if we'd been talking about letters or, oh no, I know what it was. You'd been talking about running retreats, no phones, and how you were just like, I need time away from tech, and how when you have writers come, what you ask of them, it's optional, although I would be a lot more hard ass. Put your phone away for the week. So I was thinking, well, I want to message Fiona, but I don't want to make her be on WhatsApp all the time. So I'll write to her. That was the thought in my head.
Yeah.
And I used to write letters. I mean, definitely before email. I had various friends. My friend Donna, we always wrote letters to each other. Obviously, I wrote to my mum and dad when I was traveling when I was young, but I used to write letters all the time. And the joy of receiving one.
Oh, I mean, it's not even joy, it's excitement sometimes.
Yeah.
I was telling a friend that I'm doing this letter writing group because I believe in it so strongly. And she immediately said, oh God, I've got 3 sisters and teenagers. We used to run down to the post office and see whose beau had sent her a love letter and which sister got more love letters. You know, and and she could describe it to me in detail.
Yeah.
The event of the post arriving, let alone the event of writing a letter.
Yeah.
And I think there's something so exciting about that. And it's an event to read the letter, because you also, when I got your letter, Andrew's letters, it's like I'm going to sit down later and read this. It's its own mini contained capsule. It doesn't blend into all the other things that are happening. Oh, I'm reading this email while I'm on my phone. Oh, hang on, something. You're sitting down to read the letter as its own thing. And I think there's something really lovely about that.
Yeah, you don't multitask with
No,
letters
no,
at all.
it's its own
It's
thing.
its own thing. And I remember you saying to him, we were talking earlier about this, like whenever it was, and you saying, because it's a whole thing, you sit down to write the letter
Yeah.
quietly, that's its own bubble. And then you fold it and put it in the envelope, and then you find the address and write that, and that's its whole thing, like finding it, like the effort it takes. And then
Mm.
you walk to the post office and then you post it. And I had a thing recently with a friend, and I've had this friend for 30 years, I reckon. And he'd really pissed me off. Like we've had he's a handful, this friend. I'm
You've
not
done
going
a
to name
job of
him.
it. Yeah.
But my God, recently he really, really upset me. And we spoke and I told him how much he'd upset me. And I didn't say that's it, but in my heart I was like, do you know what? I've had enough. And I just was like, I was very clear with him that he'd upset me deeply. Well, 2 weeks later, he wrote me a letter, and he's a beautiful letter writer as well. And what he had done was because he's quite funny, he had got a piece of paper that was like a enormous piece of paper, like comedy
Yeah.
size, and not letter writing paper. It was like to paint on. So he'd got comedy paper with his beautiful handwriting. He'd written a letter saying, I'm so sorry. I want you to know how much I care about this friendship.
Oh,
He'd gone to the effort of folding it up, putting it in a giant envelope, walking to the post office, posting it to me. And when I got it, I thought, I rang him. I messaged him, I think, and said, I got your letter. And then a few weeks later, I rang him. And because what it meant, the effort it had taken,
yeah.
said something to me. It
Yeah.
said, I know I'm a cat-handed idiot, but I really care about this friendship.
Yeah.
And
Versus
now I'm
another little message
demonstrating it.
where it gets misinterpreted and back and forth, and there's all that,
Yeah.
you know, I think
Text messages seem to me like when I text someone, often it's just like I'm getting it out of the way. I've got to send something and I've got to get it out of the way, which is
yeah,
the opposite, isn't it? Of
yeah. I think it's information. I think messages are often, and I'm an ep- I love a WhatsApp, and I love a
I
voice.
love a WhatsApp.
I'm obsessed.
I love a voice note. Love a
I leave
voice
the
note.
longest quip whoever
I
receives
know
a
you
voice.
do, but I absolutely love them.
You had some of
Often
mine
you're walking
now,
up a
like,
mountain.
yeah, exactly, and they're a little bit live action, like, this is just how, it's a little bit chaotic.
Love
Um,
them. But
Whereas I think a letter is much more, it's more focused. It's more, I think we kind of bring our highest, which
mm,
I say to writing students is your writing self, which is your highest and best self,
mm.
which doesn't mean it's not naughty and funny and silly and quotidian and all of those things in content. But I think we bring the effort and focus of our highest and best self to writing letters. And yeah, and I don't know, and I'm not a prolific letter writer in the way that, for example, Andrea's our mutual friend. Um, I'm not, but I've started writing to my nieces and a friend in Sweden, and sometimes it's just a funny little, if you can hear a noise, my doggy under the desk digging for Australians.
can we see her? Would she like to be live on
I think
Substack?
she'd like, will she, if I,
Often my cat decides that Percy
yeah,
tends
no,
to be live
she's
on
just been
Substack.
to, I can't remember quite the English name now.
You,
Kindergarten.
we should
She's
tell
been to
everyone
kindergarten, so
Fiona's moved to Italy. Hello.
she's
Oh,
very
good
quiet.
Lord.
That's
Does she write
Maggie.
letters?
No,
Hello,
but she
Maggie.
receives them from our friend Andrew. She
I
receives
bet she
Easter
does.
cards and love letters and all sorts of lovely
Oh,
things
darling.
on little bramble hedge notelets, which is very
Oh.
appropriate. Um, yeah, I think I also think when we're looking for meaning, we're in this we're looking for meaning, aren't we? And everything
Yeah.
seems to move so fast, and wars fly past us, friendships fly past us, meaning flies past us. And there's something really grounding, as you say, about having to go through the visceral, physical, tactile experience of the letter as well. And then to fill it with meaning and fill it with it's not content, it's context and it's
Yeah.
memory. There's a lot about memory, and which is not been, I don't know, Ellie, what do you think? I mean, I think I think nostalgia's dangerous. It can be very dangerous.
Okay.
And I also don't subscribe to that, like, oh, it was always better before. I don't think that's true. But that
Okay.
doesn't mean that there isn't value in bringing things with us that felt good.
Yeah.
I think, and I think the letter is that in many. I don't know. What do you think about nostalgia? I'm not.
I think it's dangerous.
Yeah,
It's
that's
dangerous to say it was better before. It wasn't. It was just different before.
mm, mm.
Something's better, something's worse. But to get stuck, that's why I don't drink whiskey, because it makes me fantastically nostalgic, always. And lethal.
That's great.
If you
You
and I
put
ever
out
drink whiskey
Tony and
together,
Trap in a bonnet, and you're like
we're
off
going to
with
be in trouble.
one glass of whiskey, and she's off. She's all. She's got a bonnet on.
But it's true. But having said that, I mean, there are the obvious things about letters, as opposed to, if we lose them, you don't have a cupboard full of emails that nobody prints them off. You don't have that history. I was doing a quick trawl of Substack, of all the kind of letter-related Substacks, and there's a wonderful one. Do you know? I think he's called Sean Usher, and he runs Letters Live.
Oh yeah,
Have you heard of Letters
I
Live?
know Letters Live, but I don't. I don't
Yeah.
just don't know the name
Well,
to
that's
associate
Sean
it with.
Usher, and he's on here now. And anyone who's listening, if you get a chance to go, because this is really the best of letters. It's letters written by all kinds of famous people, read by incredibly famous people today, and you never know who's going to come on. So obviously, I mean, that's the beauty of letters. They are historical record. Obviously, there's a million examples in history that we wouldn't know what had happened if we didn't have the letters of
Mm,
Pepys and
mm.
Dickens and Virginia Woolf. And I couldn't have written my debut without the archive of letters from my grandmother and
Oh, that's
grandfather.
interesting. That's
Do you know
interesting.
what I
Yeah.
mean? There's a million novels out there which couldn't have been written without them. But what also
Mm.
about the because I was talking to Patrick Gale the other day, and he writes his novels first drafts longhand. So we were
I
talking about the
know.
longhand bit. So what do you think we gain and lose from not writing? Because to write a letter, you have to have a pen and paper. Well, you could choose a different medium, but you've got to basically, it's analog.
Yeah, it's
There's no
very
getting around that.
disappointing. Yeah.
You have to,
I mean,
right.
I think
So
the
what?
understanding is, yeah, that the neuro complexity
Yeah.
of handwriting is exponentially larger than typing. Obviously, the efficiency and speed of typing is there. We know that. But the amount of your brain that is firing, especially with cursive, which of course has been taken out of schools, but don't get me started on that.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
um, neurocomplexity of forming the letters, of registering the scratch of the paper through the pen up your arm, the
Mm,
having to in real time create the letters that create meaning, the pauses, the fact that it's slower allows all of those connections to be made. Also, handwriting has an implication on memory, which is what we're talking about.
mm,
So that is why you remember writing the letter.
mm.
You actually, the writing of the letter creates its own memory, and you will remember the contents of writing that letter more than you would remember the contents of writing an email. And I'm sure you and others I can remember writing. There are letters, I can remember the act of writing them and how I felt writing them. Letters to boys and your hearts and, just beating. You're like, oh,
Yeah.
can I say this, in your whatever age you are.
Yeah.
And I remember very specifically a letter I wrote to my father. It was a difficult relationship. And I remember writing it and how difficult it was and how many times I had to start again and say all the things I wanted to say. And so there is something about the handwriting that solidifies it as a memory. And the neurocomplexity of it, just the complexity of what we're doing with our minds as we write by hand versus just tapping away or voice noting or all these other things.
So is that backed up by data and science that
Yeah.
have they
Yeah.
shown that when
I
you're
want to say it's like 5,000 versus 30,000. It's huge. It's a huge. I'd
wow,
have to look. I did have the number, which I should have, of course, like a good person being interviewed, written it
obviously
down. Obvi- But I've been
the
eating.
dog ate it.
Yeah, I've been eating sweets and not focusing very well. Um, eating licorice, all sorts, and not being
It's
a good,
also a good way to go.
not being into good interview. But it is something. It is
Okay.
something huge like that, and it's to do with especially cursive handwriting. Um,
Wow.
that it does that for us. So it's a powerful medium. It's a powerful medium in terms of our neuroplasticity and our ability to form thoughts and hold thoughts. Yeah, which is kind of fascinating.
Well, yeah, one of the things that Patrick and I were talking about in his novels, because they kind of almost singularly have an immense breathing space in them. And I was
Mm.
asking him, do you think that's a direct result of that the pace of handwriting? Because it isn't necessarily, I mean, it is slower to a degree, but that doesn't mean it's not pacey in literary terms, does it?
Yeah.
But it
No,
has
it is
more.
crazy.
There's literally feels like there's more. It's the space that it's bigger somehow, right? That's how it feels when I read Patrick. And
Yeah. I mean, I don't, in a letter I'm asking, I don't know. So I'm asking back, is that also
yeah,
to do with the capaciousness comes from the generosity of the act as well? That airiness is that it's, when I'm writing to you, it's invitational. It sounds like I'm talking to you, but it's invitational. I'm saying, write back to me. It's
yeah,
saying, here I am, and I see you are there too.
yeah.
And in that little gap is here we are. And there's something really lovely about that. And in that invitation is the connection, which is the same connection between a writer and a reader of any form, right? So as I'm sure there are lots of writers here, that when you throw your writing out into the world, that the invitation is saying, here I am, here is what I have, and let me meet you where you are. And I think that's the little heartbeat of the letter, and it was scratched out on the back of the back of I don't know, sort of a till receipt, or a beautiful Florentine paper set. It doesn't matter. It's a little ping of light shot out in a way that an email isn't. It feels so much more functional and so much more outcomes driven, an email.
Yes, and weirdly, even though email on, as it were, on paper has connected us more, it's actually far less connecting to write an email than it is to write a letter. And when I sat down to write your letter, for instance, if I write to anybody else, I'm really thinking about you. I'm sitting at
Yes.
my desk and I'm really thinking about you. And there's going to be exactly the same as a novelist writing longhand to their readers. There's going to be a jump in time
Yeah.
because it's going to take, well, to Italy, it might take a week or two. It'll take me I don't know, however long at that moment to write the letter. I might be writing it over a few days, and then it might take me some time to get to the
That's
post
interesting.
office.
Yeah, I haven't thought of
So there's
that.
a,
That
and
gap.
yet there's that gap, and yet it feels so much more connected
Yeah, I haven't
than
thought of that.
emailing
Like
you.
how immediate it feels,
Yeah.
even though I mean, I've realized now with a couple of experiments, it takes me 10 working days, about 2 weeks, for a letter of mine to get to you or someone else in the UK. So,
Yeah. And so
yeah.
that's a long running conversation. We've now started a long, relaxed conversation,
Yeah,
haven't we?
we have. Oh, I
And one
love
of the,
that. I love
I
having
love
a
that.
long, relaxed conversation with you.
Me too. But also because we're also messaging each other so there are all these different layers of conversation now happening
Yeah.
between us. And one of the things I've noticed in the modern age of letter writing is I always want to ignore, I always want to text, got your letter. And then I think, oh no, don't do that, because the whole point, in a way, is it's okay. You know what I mean? I don't have to.
Yeah.
I don't want her to, but I want you to be
No, but
like,
at the
I got
same
your
time,
letter,
I'm
but
gratified by that because
are
I
you?
find the process so massively unreliable. I'm like,
I know, did it get there? Yeah, yeah. So I
yeah,
never
I put
know
my
whether.
stamp on until I get my confidence up with the stamps and everything. Will you
Yeah,
continue to tell me you get my
yeah.
letter?
I will. But I never know if there's a kind of etiquette to it somehow, because
I'm sure
there's
there
a
is.
there's a beauty to that silence. The letter arrives, and at that moment, as I hold your letter in my hand, you don't know it's turned up. So
No,
I'm reading your letter without you knowing.
without me watching and waiting for the little double ticks
Little
and that immediate, right?
the
Yeah.
hideous blue double ticks, exactly, all of that stuff, and that creates such a there's such an intimacy, I think, around that dance between
And I
two
think, I mean,
correspondents.
thinking about that in relation to the double ticks, I think about all this anxiety about texting and relationships and dating, and because I've been, as I said, writing to my nieces,
Mm,
um, and I said, oh, did he write back? No, he didn't. Oh, there's all this kind of, I mean, I say my nieces, I should include myself in this, and I think with a letter, you're just sending it. You don't know when,
yeah,
as you say, you don't know when they received it. And romances used to happen over weeks.
months.
Instead of send a letter and went on the boat and bobbed off, I don't know, to Argentina or something. And then you'd wait for the reply.
Yeah,
Um,
and
which
you
my
never.
grand used to do. She was in Ireland and my grandpa was in South Africa, and she'd write him letters.
Yeah.
And there was none of the anxiety of waiting for a reply. There was a
Mm,
caution that all was okay until it wasn't. Well, actually, until you got a telegram, then it wasn't okay. But
yeah.
yeah,
That
so,
that's a really fascinating aspect as well, actually, I think, that to take the to live by the premise, all is okay unless you get in
unless
that case, and unless it's not, rather than that that kind of texting. I mean, how many times I've sent a text and then the blue ticks don't happen, or I've deleted it, or I've said, "Oh," but there's that need for instant, because what it's saying is all is not okay unless you reassure me. It's the absolute opposite of
exactly.
the letter writing
Yes.
world, which
And
is
I've just
trust
seen
me.
Andrew in the
Oh, I
thing.
met okay. What's he say?
Exactly. He met his, and they wrote love letters.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh,
wouldn't we love some love letters at this point? It's just there's something really lovely about that. And
I
some of my
mean,
recently been reading, um, kind of devastatingly, Albert Camus' love letters to his wife, or his letters
mm,
to his wife and her replies. And and then I mean, I won't do people know his story? I don't know. But then, there is an inevitable end to this. And the last letter he sends. And it's just devastating. And how loving they were, and how he was thinking through his philosophy through his love for her in these letters. They also became a space for him to articulate his thoughts and think through his thoughts to her, who he knew was a safe ear. Before he, well, no, not before he committed to them. I don't know that about him, but there was a sense of ideas in action, speaking out loud, to somebody he loved, and she would write back so reassuringly. And
mm.
I love collections of letters. Absolutely love them.
Yeah, I've read the whole Virginia Woolf collection of letters to
Oh,
various. Really, they're
amazing. Yeah,
something. Yes, and I think that's another aspect, the working ideas through over a
yeah,
long lifetime of correspondence with somebody.
absolutely, absolutely. I think so.
Because yeah, because it allows, again, there's great trust there. Like, this is a long, slow conversation we're going to have over, well, until one of us is dead. And so
You go first.
okay.
Right behind
I'll
you,
go
Ellie.
first.
Yeah, exactly.
But so that working out of ideas, again, it flies in the face of having to know, having to have decided, having to be fixed, having to be right, having to have arrived anywhere, because the whole relationship of letters, the only thing that arrives is the letter.
And
The
there's
co-
no interjection as I interject you.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, there's no interjection. So there's no like, oh, well, have you thought of this? And there's again the capaciousness and the time to think through what do I really want to tell Ellie about this idea I'm having.
Mm.
And then, well, it's not a fully formed idea yet. So I'm just going to tell her that I'm thinking about this, and I might want to pursue that. And next time I'll let her know how I'm getting on with that.
Yeah.
Um, and then the opposite end of it is the quotidian nonsense that's in letters that somehow can't go into an email, because emails are all business somehow. They've got all that nonsense. Anything in a binary code is, not going to have space for
Efficient.
efficient. There's no, and that's where love resides, in the minutiae and in the details.
Mm.
And, I had pumpkin for lunch, and now I'm sitting down with my cup of tea to write to you.
Yeah.
And in those funny little asides and sub clauses, and the blotch of tea that made it onto the page, and the ink ran, and I think letters are less of a performance and an efficiency. There's space to write a messy letter. I think, because I think also with the writing group, I don't want everyone to feel like they had to come and write some kind of letter to end all letters that's going to
Proust.
make it into.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, it's about coming to write and say, oh, and I'm going to scratch out this recipe for you. Damn it, I forgot what the third ingredient was. Or, it's all that stuff as well. And I'm going to include a leaf I found, and I also like all the stuff people put in letters as opposed to
Yeah.
the letters. And
Mm.
I think there's all that loveliness that comes as well.
Yeah, they're imperfect. And because if you are in the habit, and I hope everyone here will get into the habit of writing letters if it rocks their boat. It certainly rocks mine and yours. But if you're writing a long letter and you've written the first page, and then you're on the second page, and then you write something, and then you're not going to trash it and start all over. You're not going to delete and start all
No,
over
of
again.
course not.
It's going to be fantastically imperfect. Also, sometimes I love letters that begin on Tuesday and finish on the following Saturday. Do you know what I mean? There's that wonderful, had to break off, come back now, completely different mood, all of that sort
Different
of
piece of paper. It's all
different bit of paper, yeah, mud. Exactly.
Can't find the pen's not working anymore. All of that. Yeah.
Yeah, I love letters where
I love a
like
pen change. Don't you love
I
a
love a
pen
pen
change? It
change.
starts in a kind of
Oh,
quite elegant pen, and then it sort of deteriorates into a scratchy biro. And then by the end of it, I love that.
I love a pen change. And while we're on stationery, the other joy, if you are a stationery whore, then then letters.
The erotics of stationery. I mean, do not get me started.
Well, you and Andrew, I am not. I write on the back of an old envelope, but
Yeah,
you
but
and Andrew write
that's its
beautifully.
own thing too. Writing on the back of an old. That
Yeah,
also there's also something going
it's a
on there.
thing. That's my style. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm also interested in that. Now I love, and obviously here there are all these amazing, beautiful Florentine kind of gilded papers, and
Mm.
I sort of think, oh, I don't think I have a letter that can quite match how pretty all this stuff is.
Mm.
Um, yeah, and then like Andrew does like washi tapes, and
I
and
know.
it's a whole beautiful thing, and
Yeah, he's a
and
master.
I like and I like the fancy stamps. I like using nice pens. I like the whole thing. Um,
Mm.
I've got a whole box. I don't know. Do you have a box? I don't know. I've got a box of like cards and
Yeah,
papers.
yeah, yeah.
All sort of-
I've got a card, and maybe I'll send it to you now that I can tell you about it, because it's one of my favorite cards. But what it says on the front, "Bye bye, don't come back," and I love it so much. But I don't know who to send it to, because obviously, if you take that personally,
Offense will be taken.
"Bye bye,
That's
don't come back." It's just like so
okay.
good. I'll send it to you in my next letter to you, because
Yeah,
it
send
is.
it to me, and I won't be
Yeah, but I've
offended.
had it for
I won't
years.
be back. I'll stay in Italy. If that if
Yeah,
it
no.
offends you.
But yeah, I've got a whole box of cards that I just quietly. So often I will write letters on a series of various postcards I've got. So they won't be
Okay.
on. So far, I think I've only written to you on
Paper.
Basildon Bond, which I happen to have.
I love Basildon.
I mean, who doesn't love Basildon Bond? Having said
Yes,
I'm not a stationery whore, I
it's
do
both
love
sensible and lovely. It's
and lovely.
luxurious and sensible at the same
Yeah,
time. Yeah,
yeah, it's got the
I love it.
thickness. But
Yeah,
I did buy a fountain pen a while back, thinking I must start writing in fountain pen again. I mean, I was like St. Trinian's, it was ink everywhere. It was a disaster.
I love that.
So, but I
Love.
keep meaning to have a nice not a biro. I always feel a bit upset at myself if I write a letter in a biro because, frankly, it's below par, isn't
You
it?
can end one in a biro, but you must at least start
You
in
must at
something.
least make some sort of effort, yeah.
Exactly. Love to.
So just tell me, you've moved to Italy. Of course, I know that. But can you tell everybody who's listening, you've moved to Italy, you've begun Melrose, and you've had this idea for the longhand letter writing group. Can you tell everyone about it and
Um,
how they can come
yeah.
join in?
So the idea again came from just this kind of despair at the speed of things, and because what I'm doing here and what I'm trying to build here is very much about paying attention and presence and deep immersion and all those things that we seem to be outsourcing and relinquishing without even knowing it.
Mm,
And the our attention being stolen and all of these things. And often what I do if I'm mentoring a student who's struggling with something or they don't know what they really mean about something or and and often if they come and say I've got writer's but I can't write anything or writer's block.
mm,
I, I've often said, go write a letter. There's no pressure and send it to someone you love. And just, that's all you have to do this week. Don't feel like you need to go rushing off and join and write a novel. And they've all come back and said, God, that was such a game changer. That unlocked something for me. And it was really powerful. Um, and I just thought, why are we not doing this as a thing? Why are we,
mm,
and I think we don't sit down and write a letter. I wouldn't have started writing letters, I don't think, if I hadn't been written to. So there is a how do you get back in? How do you start that thing?
mm. Yeah.
And it's a moment, I think, especially for writers, but for everybody, where they can write with intention and presence and meaning. And it takes 20 minutes or it takes an hour or it takes as long as it takes. And as we're saying, it could be a postcard. It doesn't have to be anything. And then I thought, how lovely if we could all come together and do it together so that it's structured in and there's a kind of accountability. And once a month, meet up. And it means that once a month, that's all. It's not a massive commitment. You're writing to somebody. And it can be this person every month. It can be somebody you don't know. It could be, I've got a neighbor who's alone and has a carer twice a day, but they don't see anyone. I'm just going to stick a little letter, dear friend, under their door every month or whatever it is, and come together and do that. So I thought that would be a lovely thing to do.
Beautiful.
So I started the longhand letter writing group, which is going to start a month from now. So the middle of May. Are we in April? Yeah. It's the middle of May. And I think it's nice to also talk about it a little bit, have a bit of context, look at a lovely, famous letter, probably some of them similar to the letters aloud. And letters have started wars, and letters have started times of peace, and have ended relationships. And there's something really powerful, and also funny and silly and romantic. And look at a letter just to give people some inspiration, maybe if they're feeling a bit unsure how to start, or not, just for a bit of context. And then sit together and write a letter, which I think is lovely, sort of rustling of pages across the ether. And it is a bit ironic, of course, that it's online, but if that's what we have to do, it's what we have to do, right? And then really encourage people, go and post the letter, go and post it, and buy the stamps and put it in the post box. Yeah, I don't know why I get these things where it just feels right and it feels good and it feels of the time. And again, I think it's a moment of really slowing down. There's a kind of meditative aspect to it and a kind of going in and a focus that I'm certainly craving.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's ironic to say that I'm, lucky me living in the middle of nowhere, but I still need that. I need that moment of pause, like a conscious pause to connect to someone you love. What could be nice?
And I think if someone has never written a letter, and I mean, I think my children probably have, but not in the way that we're talking. So there will be at least a generation. There may be people listening right now who've never written a
Yeah.
letter. So it's
It
very
might be,
hard.
"Dear Auntie so and so, thank you for the lovely Christmas gift," and that's
It
probably the
undoubtedly was that. And that's not really a letter. That's sitting
no,
at the kitchen
that's a
table like,
punishment.
it's a punishment. But because to try and explain and translate and share the feeling, the quiet of writing a letter,
Yeah,
it's almost impossible to describe it to somebody. So if there are people listening who haven't written a letter, to that act, the only way to really experience that world softening
yeah,
is to sit and do it. And it is remarkable. I always find, because if I've got someone, like, again, let's say if I'm going to write to you, I'm thinking I must write to Fiona, and I'm rushing around in my day, and then it creates a pause, and I have to just sit. And often in the thinking of it, I think, oh, I haven't got time, I haven't, da, da, da. But actually, when I just sit down quietly and
yeah,
do it, it can just be 5 minutes. Actually, it's always longer because I suddenly start running off at the mouth.
yeah.
I can't
It's
stop.
also that it's like, "Oh, well, I've got 20 minutes. I'll just dash off a letter to Ellie and tell her about this thing."
Mm,
Um, but there's this funny little gear change that happens,
mm,
and you kind of settle your bones settle down on themselves. There's something about the posture, I think, as well, the
yeah,
physical aspect of it, and even just the getting the pen and the rummaging and there is a little quietness. It's so strange. It's so strange.
yeah.
I wonder if it was always felt and experienced in that way. Maybe all of life had that texture to it before. But for me, certainly, it's a noticeable gear change.
Yes, I wonder, because we can only assume life has speeded up, but how do we know that Jenny Robbins in 1700 didn't feel like she was always rushing? And when she stopped to write a
Yeah.
letter, there was a good. We will never know unless someone actually wrote. Oh gosh, sitting and writing in letters is such a gear change for me because I'm so busy. I would want to. I don't know. I think I'd want to assume that it always does create a gear change, even though I also do feel we're more frenetic. But then it's relative, isn't it?
Yeah,
Because
I don't know. I mean, I think I
I don't
remember
know.
reading because my ongoing obsession with Dorothy Wordsworth. I mean, I
Yeah.
remember her letters to her friend Catherine in Suffolk, and she's saying, "I'm trying to mend the curtains,
Yeah.
and all the lettuces to be planted, and all the notes to write up because Coleridge is coming. And so I'm writing this to you, and so I can rush in and get it to the post."
Exactly.
And so I think
So it's
there is
relative, isn't
yeah,
it? It's
yeah. And
entirely
she had all
relative.
these chores she had to do, just the physicality of surviving. So this little moment of physically resting your body at the kitchen table to write a letter before the kind of quite the work continued. I mean, her in particular had a very grueling physical demands on her life. Um, yeah,
And there were more letters. I mean, that was literally the
so
only,
many letters,
right?
so many letters. But don't you wait? There are always these sort of slightly patrician kind of authors who set aside a day for correspondence with
I know.
one's fans, and you're like, what?
What is wrong
How
with
is it
you?
wrong? Letters, and there was always a kind of moment with a,
Yes.
a
I
scarf,
have to go and
big
do my
scarf.
letters, exactly. Or in the
Yeah,
breakfast room. I know we're
let
imagining we are in some sort of Jane Eyre or something novel, but
yeah,
still,
I guess
the
there is that kind
breakfast
of
room
moment
and
of correspondence.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Or I always do love a letter that says "in haste" as
in
well.
haste,
In haste,
in haste. It's
and they
true.
often are. I do, because I do feel like I'm in haste when I'm. But then, as I say, when I sit down and start to write,
I write that.
I'm
I think you're right. I write in haste.
yeah.
Wonder that's very pretentious. I need to have a word with myself. I don't
Well,
know
it
where I got.
is, but it's
Where did
so
I get that sort of
pretentious that
weird little
I
affectation? I need. I need to
no, but
look
I'm
in.
gonna keep. I'm gonna lean into it because I love it so much. So I'm gonna go like through the pretension and out the other side until it becomes. I don't know.
Oh,
I can't. I
oh,
just like.
yeah. Oh, all right.
Yeah,
Well, I'll
yeah.
look
I'm
forward
going to
to
go.
you.
I'm going to double. I'm going to double down on the.
You're like, oh gosh, this
I'm going
is
to write in haste, and
now
then it's going to be like a 40-page letter.
in high English with the Latin lobbed in for good measure. You're like, oh, this is a job to read. I wish we hadn't had that conversation.
Christ,
Oh,
use it to
no.
light the fire.
Yeah.
Have you ever written a letter that you had no intention of posting, but you wrote it, to say something to someone that you couldn't actually say it?
Yeah, I mean, family members I've written and
Mm.
then chose not to
Mm.
because you just know it's going to be an absolute tinderbox, and you're just like, oh, shall I send that one? But then I've also there are ones that I wasn't going to send and I did, and I'm really glad I did. Um,
Okay.
so I mean, I remember actually I think I mentioned a letter to my father, and I wrote him this letter, and then I wasn't going to give it to him, and it was, and it wasn't, and it's a
Mm.
whole thing. And
Had you sealed it? Had you sealed it as you
it wasn't one to
barricaded?
post. It was I was going back to London, and I was going to
Okay.
leave it on his
Ah, the left letter. That's a
table.
whole other
Left
thing.
letter. But then the trick is to dash for the airport before he opens it, right? Because that would be
Yes. Yes, yes.
anyway. That didn't go to plan. He'd read it, um, and he came outside and he hugged me and wept.
Oh,
And he never hugged me. He was a very Victorian, talk about patrician
yeah.
man. And we had this incredible moment. And he died quite soon after that. And I was like, thank God I wrote that letter, because I would have so much stuff with me, and there are those letters that you're, yeah, like a peace of mind for the rest of my life hinged quite a lot in that area, in that aspect. So that was one which I could have not left, and I put it back in my bag, and I thought I was safe. I thought the taxi had arrived. I thought I got away with it. Turns out he's a quick reader, and yeah, interesting. Anyway,
Did you write it to get things off your chest or to make him understand? Who was the most important person in that letter? Was it you or him?
I think it was. I think it was me. I think it was me saying, "You
Mm.
please hear this. Please hear this." It was one of those we're never going to get on, but that's okay. Like that, it was one of those ones.
Mm.
And these are the ways that you've hurt me and whatever, but I'm moving on, and
Mm.
I know you did the best you could. It's one of those kind of letters, all the stuff you carry, and I thought I can't carry this anymore in
Yeah.
my adulthood,
Yeah.
early adulthood, and yeah, and he read it with me still there. Anyway, it was interesting. It was interesting, and I'm so grateful for it. I'm so great.
Mm.
And the interesting thing about a letter is that you can say things you can never say to someone's face, because that would have been impossible for me to articulate and impossible for him to hear.
Yes.
That
Both.
was, and there is something about a letter, a difficult letter, that gives the person you're sending it to the space and the time to absorb it and receive it
Mm.
in a way that is manageable for them.
Mm.
And I think, again, that's another generosity and the capaciousness of the letter that allows for the invitational aspect of the letter again, which I think is really.
And because it's a physical thing, I mean, obviously emails can be read again and again, which well, I don't anyway, but with a letter, you can read it again and again, but it has because it's got a physicality to it.
Mm.
You read it. Let's say I received a difficult letter, I'll read it and then I'll put it aside, and it's still in my eye view. I can see, I can't close. It's not like you can close your laptop. It's sitting there speaking to you,
Yeah, I think
isn't
also,
it?
Ellie, the difference is between, when you see a painting in a book, in an art book,
Mm,
God,
mm.
that's great. And then you see the brushstrokes when you see it in life.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
it just
completely different animal.
resonates differently. There's something about the physical words on the page that resonate differently to the binary writing of a computer. I think there just is. It's the human hand and the human touch.
Yeah. Well, again, it's the
Um,
connection, isn't it? Circling back, there's something
yeah,
so intimate and so connecting and so meant. It's so intentional, a
yeah,
letter,
yeah. I
isn't
think
it?
so. I mean, I like choosing stamps for people. I think, oh,
You see, you go above and beyond.
no, but because it's funny, because some of the stamps, especially in Italy, the stamps are very funny. Some of them. There's no irony, and you're like, what is that? So I like to choose a stamp that'll make someone laugh a little bit, or they'll just say, "Oh, it's beautiful," or whatever. Um, I think that's lovely. And I've received letters or recently from again Andrew with like
Mhm.
lovely Snoopy stamps, and I know he chose that one.
Oh,
Love it. You'll love that stamp, and I chose that. I know that there's a lovely yeah. Oh, this piece, but that's a postcard. You're choosing a postcard because somebody. Oh, they'll like this one. Ellie will like this one, so I'll choose
mm.
her this a funny one or a sweet one, or I think there's something lovely.
I didn't know you could choose stamps. I thought you just went down the post office and is that
Or
really,
maybe in
can you really
England
do
they've
that?
just got who's on the stamp, the king.
Well, no, Andrew's going to have to tell us. But if he's sending you funny Snoopy stamps, then
But
clearly
I've
you
got
can.
Snoopy stamps.
Well, Andrew, I want a Snoopy stamp.
What have you
Damn
got? The
it!
king.
I don't know. Probably I've got that sideways.
Oh no, you want a Snoopy? No, I
I
get
want a
lovely.
Snoopy stamp.
Yeah,
Do
well,
you know what? That's the other thing
maybe
I've
I'll
got.
ask for them. Maybe they're editions.
Okay, I'll ask because
I
the
don't
other
know.
thing I've got in my letter writing box, I've got original Wombles letter writing. Do you remember the Wombles?
Yes,
I've
Wimbledon.
got yeah, I've got two envelopes and two pieces of paper left. That's all I've got, and I daren't send them
No,
to anyone because they
no,
are
no. There's a
because that's it. They're collectors,
relic.
so they have come with me clearly since I left home. I mean, and I remember when I was a child, my one of my favorite Christmas presents was a red letter writing, like a
Or like,
leather
yes,
case, and you opened it, and there was the Basildon and
space
not Basildon
pen
Bond,
and
and
the
the
yeah.
pens and
Oh,
the
and
stamps,
red.
and I loved it so much. So the Wombles have come all the way from there, and they're now where I've lived, gone, and they're sitting there along with Bye Bye, Don't Come Back. I don't, I can't send them
Do
to
you know what?
anyone.
Do you think that do you remember hotels used to have like
Ah, yes,
paper
yes.
and envelopes because obviously you were going to write from your holidays abroad. You were
And
going to
receive
say
letters, and that always
right.
amazes me
They
that
still do. They don't still do that, do they?
some hotels do that, and
They
I've
just
said,
lock you the Wi-Fi password and tell you to get
yeah,
on.
yeah, but some do, some still do, and I've got an
They must do.
entire case of letters between my father and my mother when they were courting. He was married to someone else, she was married to somebody else, so these were utterly illicit love
The
letters,
handlings
passionate love letters,
letters.
and he was writing them from Hotel de Cap and hotel, all these
Oh, I
different
love that.
wonderful
Hotel letterheads. I think I need
hotel
to
letterheads.
start a
That's a whole
career
thing.
making hotel letterheads.
Yeah, yeah, that's a whole thing. And actually,
Yeah.
in France, where well, I'm going to say when you come out to my house in France, you'll find we've still got the headed paper that he had made for that house with a
Isn't that?
drawing of the
I
house
love that.
as it's heading. In fact, I'll write to you from there next time when I'm
That's
there
funny
because
because
you're
I
going to
was
love
I was
that.
having a fantasy about doing some for here and doing a
Yes,
lovely and because I want people when they come here as well.
yeah,
It's like before we leave or before they leave at the end of a retreat to write a letter home
mm,
and
mm.
be part of it. And I thought it would be lovely to do a nice set of
Melrose.
papers with good quality and nice, not too white. The paper must never be too white.
No, never be
You know?
too white.
Yeah.
So will you have an in-person letter writing retreat as well, or will it just be
I mean, I don't know
how's
if
that going to
we could have people come for a week just to write letters. I think they'd
okay,
run out of
too
words to write.
much.
But no, but I do include it in the retreat. That you will write a letter, and I say that in a very broad sense. You could be writing it to your character. You could be writing it from your character. You could be writing it home to moan about everyone else on the retreat. You could be,
Always
but
fun.
yeah, always fun. or write it to me when you leave and
Mm,
say, this is what shifted and this is what didn't. And whatever it is, I think that's the freedom. Um, but I believe in it very powerfully. I think it's something really powerful.
mm.
Um, and also fun. I mean, letters can also just be funny and,
Yep.
and easy and chatty. And, yeah, I
I'm
think that,
doing Kit Duvall's 6 month writing course, and on our first, we're doing two in persons. In fact, I can't go to the last one, but we did our first in person at Gladstone Library earlier this
yeah.
year. And at the end of that 2 day workathon, it was brilliant. She gave us all letters to write to ourselves, paper and an envelope
Oh, I
to
love
write
that.
to ourselves.
Love that.
So we wrote letters to ourselves, folded them up, sealed them, gave them back to her, and she will give them back to us at the end,
I love that. I love
which is
that.
also,
Yeah. You see, there's something, it's the permanence. It's the permanence
yeah.
and the intentionality. You bring a different kind of intentionality to
Mm,
writing it.
yeah.
Um, yeah. And I've started writing to people who've been here and stayed here and,
Mm,
and I think also I would like to very much people who come to the retreat and are kind of alumni. I mean, I hate that word. It's a bit smart, but people who've
yep.
through the retreat system is keep a correspondence going with them individually.
Mm,
Uh, as a kind of slower community adhesive, just to kind of widen and deepen that communication and relationship. As you say, is more intimate. It is. You're writing to that person in particular in
yeah.
the way that you mentioned it. Um,
And you're
yeah,
telling them, I care because I've sat down and I've put aside this time. There's nothing to me that
yeah,
says care more
yeah.
than a letter, even if the letter just says, in haste, love you, got to go and pick the tomatoes now, love Eleanor.
Because
That's,
that is what luxury is now, is time. The luxury of time
yeah,
is the one we don't have.
yeah,
So you're saying to me, the most precious commodity we all have right now. I'm taking some of that and I'm giving it to you.
yeah,
Um, and I'm bringing my best self to that.
yeah, exactly. And my best self will often turn out to say things that I wasn't expecting. I
Oh,
I have
that
never written a
yeah,
letter that I
yeah.
expected to write ever.
And it goes off somewhere, and you're like, oh, and why am
Completely.
I telling you this? Is that you often confess
Yep.
things, or
Yep.
that's true. That is really true.
Always. It's remarkable what opens up when you sit down with a pen and paper to write a letter to somebody. And it's that combination. I just don't know. And I don't know whether, like, let's say I sat down and I wrote letters to you, wrote to Andrew and to my friend Donna, who I correspond with often. There's something there's a mind meld across time and space
Yeah.
with you that makes some section of my mind open up, and I might write a completely different one to Andrew and a completely different one to Donna within the
Yes.
same afternoon, and they're magic. There's a magic to them.
I find
I
myself
can't
a
think of
bit
a better
more
word.
confessional. I think I get a bit more confessional in letters, I think,
To
than I
you.
do. Um, yeah, I think so. I
Yeah,
think I do. I think I become more kind of vulnerable in a way. I'm not
yeah,
sure that
yeah.
is.
I'm more trusting in a letter, and
Yes.
again, I don't
Yes.
know. I don't know why. I don't know what that is. Um,
Because only you will see it.
yeah,
I'm sending it to you. It's not going
I'm sending.
through a computer and we don't know.
No, and also I think it never. I never think anyone, you could easily show my letter to somebody. Let's say I wrote a fantastically confess, but it feels safe and private, which
Yeah.
literally you could go and pin that up on the library board if you wanted to.
Yeah. But we
But
don't.
we don't. We don't do
I
that.
saw an amazing little YouTube video or something, and God knows why. I guess the algo's got me, hasn't it? About how they used to fold secret love letters. I mean, it was
Oh
like a
my God.
27 stage thing with a secret lock of twine and then a bit of wax and then another fold. I mean, the machinations of secret letters and political letters in the
Yeah.
17th century, and absolutely fantastic. Really
Yeah.
fantastic. I do a little fold it in half and pop it in
Yeah.
pop it in.
Yeah. Go the simple route.
You know,
Maybe I'll start doing that.
I've never
Yeah,
done this
absolutely.
kind of elaborate origami and the stitching and the wax and the really interesting, and how they put booby traps in the letters as well. So that if it had been opened, you would know, because there was one tiny thing that wouldn't be the same. I mean, just
Wow.
incredible. Absolutely incredible. There's a woman online who does them in real time and shows you how to do them. I mean, I couldn't be bothered, to be honest, but it is kind of amazing.
Wow. Yeah, surely you can. I'm sure I'm getting a memory of the booby trap with a hair. Like you place a
Yeah, it's a
hair.
thread. You put a thread
It's a
across, but
thread.
you can't see it's there. And then
Yeah,
as you open you won't even know you've pulled it. It just pings. It just,
and then you know,
yeah, yeah.
busted.
It's
What's
called something lock, the secret lock letter or something like that. It's got
oh
a
my
secret lock
God.
in. Kind of incredible. It's fantastic.
What's your view on how to open a letter and wax stamps on letters?
See, I love a wax stamp on a
I
letter.
love a wax stamp. Have you
I
got a
think
stamp?
they should
Have you
never
got
be,
a?
no, because I should not be trusted.
I'm totally going to find you one. I'm
I
going to
mean,
find you a Melrose. Oh my God.
this house has stood for 800 years and it will burn down in 2 shakes of a rabbit's tail if I'm let loose with wax and flame. Stood for 800 years. And, oh,
Right.
and that's no, of course. I mean, the romance of it and the kind of,
Yeah, the romance of
and all
it.
this sort of, all those sort of gothic letters, and
Mm,
there's a whole world attached
yeah.
to this, isn't there? And
Mm,
quills, and I mean, I think
mm,
that's another sensory world. I don't think we're
yeah.
wearing big enough skirts to get away with that somehow.
I don't. Well, not a quill. If you're going to use a quill, you have to wear an enormous skirt.
Massive skirt, yeah, and have a black horse. I think I don't think,
Well,
I'm
you
not
and I
sure we
both
can pull
know.
that off with
You and
any
I
kind of
both know
straight.
the person who can pull that off is Essie Fox. Let's be frank.
She can. She's the only one. Yeah, she could write us
She's
letters.
allowed. She gets the quill and the wax stamp. Nobody
I'm
else.
going to message her and ask if I can start writing letters, just because I'm going
Please
to
do.
see if she'll write me back one with some lovely. I would love that. I would absolutely love that.
Oh, I
Yeah.
bet she would write you back with a.
No,
It'll be
Essie Fox,
perfumed.
right? She'd write a lovely letter, I bet.
Oh, she can you imagine her handwriting? I see. I need
Yeah,
to improve my handwriting. And what about opening letters? Have you got a letter opener, or are you
I
ripping it
do.
open?
Do is it
Good,
even? Is it here? No, it's not. It's buffalo bone, because I
lovely.
grew up in Africa,
In
and it's
Africa,
kind
yeah.
of, yeah, and it's kind
Mm,
of handmade, and I love it. Yeah, I love
mm,
it. I
okay.
do have a letter opener. Yeah,
And you
or
keep all
knife. I mean, because it might
knife.
be good, because somebody has sent me, seeds for the garden in it, so I might want to get in
Okay, but carefully. And woe betide anybody who puts their letter in
the wrong
fold
way.
size. Right.
No, don't do that.
No, don't
No.
do that.
Do I need for my letter writing group to do a little bit of a demonstration on it? Do we think? Do we think there's going to
Just
be? I haven't anticipated all the hazards, and I'm thinking we need to have a little every 6 months. The longhand letter writing group will do kind of safety measures.
say-
They to, don't set anything on fire with the wax. Don't use a sharp object. I think
exactly. Put it incorrectly. But
and
if you
use.
want to, but if you want to develop some incredibly clever folding methods, that's fine.
Yes, no, that's
That's
good.
completely.
No,
That's
that's
really.
fine. And there are
Yeah.
YouTube tutorials for this.
Yeah. Yeah. But don't spend too much time on YouTube. Get
No,
back to the
no,
letter
because you're
writing.
writing the beautiful letter and having that incredible
Exactly.
presence. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what about the letter that doesn't get replied to? How do you feel about that?
I think it's not okay. I mean,
Okay.
although don't you think that you start to think, well, it got lost in the post? Because you
I'd
see, I
like
think
to think
it
that.
allows you that emotional
Mm,
trapdoor. Like, you send a message and the blue ticks don't turn up, you're just being ghosted. But
full
if you
stop.
send a letter and you're like, oh, maybe they didn't get it. You know how the
Yes,
Royal Mail is these days, and you can tut away.
exactly.
Um,
Maybe the carriage fell in a ditch
yeah. Or
and the
the
letters were
Royal
spread
Mail
out.
motorbike tipped over in a canal. But yeah,
Exactly. Okay.
I mean, I think you have to reply eventually. I do
Yes.
think there is letters, I think, give you the generosity of time. You can take your time to reply.
Yeah, because there's no time limit, is there? In my
No,
world, there's no you have to reply within 6 months or that's not. No, no, no.
No, you can reply at any time.
At any
Yeah,
time. Yeah.
yeah. But there's no pressure to reply, but the opposite is true as well.
Well, yes, because as you know, it's that long running conversation. That's the thing
Yeah.
that I love.
I mean,
That
my
slow.
nieces have never written back, but that's life. I think they're too busy being amazing. But
But you know they love your letters because you hear it from.
yeah, they say, "Oh, I got your letter."
Yeah.
But I remember getting letters from my uncle, and he was a judge, and he got this really grand, paper,
Right. Yeah.
and he would write me letters during his lunchtime, and I felt incredibly important that he would
Yes.
do that as a child. I think there's
As a
something also
child.
writing to children. I think
Yeah.
you felt
Yeah.
massively grown up and seen and acknowledged, and
Mm.
oh, my uncle thinks I'm such a grown up, and so I'm interesting enough to spend time writing to and asking me questions and telling me things about, oh, I had a chap in court today who's made some bad choices, and this kind of thing.
Yeah.
Really
Things he probably
interesting.
shouldn't have been telling you, but he told you anyway.
He said he's
But
made some bad choices, but that's life.
yeah. It's like, tell us more.
Yeah,
But
what would he
but as well, I think if you're new to letter writing and there's any nervousness around it, then writing to a child, your
Oh,
favorite child
absolutely.
in your life, is a brilliant way because they probably won't write back, but they might not. But they will feel so special and so
Yeah,
seen and so heard. It's
absolutely.
just the most amazing gift to give, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's just
Just tell them grown up stuff that they might like to hear, and ask
mm,
questions. I think there's a
mm,
loveliness asking questions in a letter as well.
mm.
Yeah, I
Do
think
you
because
remember?
I wonder if people haven't written letters. There are people who think,
They
well, I
really,
write a letter. How would
yeah.
I do that?
How
Yeah.
would I do it? Yeah, I think it's entirely feasible that there are people who haven't
Yeah.
written letters. Yeah. I remember as
I,
a child having a pen pal was completely not everyone had a pen pal. And we were
yeah.
always writing to someone that you'd never meet in some other country, and it was just a completely normal
Yeah.
thing. But I'm not. And schools, it was all part of school. But I'm not sure if
Oh, I
I'm not
didn't
sure
have a
if.
oh, no.
Oh look, Essie has joined. Essie, you're going to have to go back and hear the bit where we talked about you.
Oh, what is it?
No,
When you
it's
text
good, Essie.
about
It's good. I promise. It's
it.
good. But
Oh,
it
how we
does
long
involve
for a letter from Essie with a big wax stamp.
wax stamp on it. I know. We are almost at time, my darling. Goodness, it's
Oh,
flown by.
gone so quickly.
Just,
Yeah.
I know, hasn't it? So just let's do proper prompting for the sake of those who think, yes, I want to join Fiona Melrose and
Yeah.
Anna Rosa on the longhand letter writing group. Just talk us through exactly what they have to do.
Right. So you can go to my lovely new website, which went up today only. So that's exciting. And it's a Melarosa retreat. So Melarosa retreat.com. And if you go into the online teaching and that bit, there's a drop down menu and it says the longhand letter writing group. And you can read through everything there, or then just message me through the website and say, is it for me? Do I want to do it? What's, I don't think I can, whatever, something like that. And then we'll be starting in the middle of May and meeting once a month. And, yeah. And I just hope it's something lovely. And that's why we're also going to look at a letter at the beginning of each session, just to give people a jumping off point if
Mm,
they have a kind of anxiety about where to start.
mm.
And I love it. It's also something for people who want to write but don't want to write a novel.
Yes.
There is that kind of intentional moment in your month where you're coming to write with a group. Um, and yeah, I think there's also something really lovely about that. Not everyone needs to write a novel. Not everyone wants to
No,
write a novel.
no.
Everyone wants to write a short story. But
Mm.
if you write a really beautiful letter every month, what a thing. Or a terrible letter, scrappy, angry, it doesn't matter. It
Yeah,
doesn't matter
a
what it
rubbish
is.
letter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's no sort of correct way to do it all. So I think that's what that is. So if anyone's interested, they can go to the website and read everything through, or just email me and I can send you what you need. Again, through the website's the best thing. Or on Instagram, wherever you want to get a hold of me, you can do that. Yeah, I'd love to welcome people, and it could be 4 people, it could be 40. It doesn't matter. I think I want to sit and write letters once a month, and I would love it if there were other people there too.
Mhm. So you'll write in that, when you come together every month online, you'll sit and quietly write a letter in
Actually
each other's
writing.
company.
Yeah.
Privately, though, those letters will not be shared.
No. So people will come with their paper and their pen and their envelopes and their postcard, or, if they want to illustrate the postcard, it doesn't matter. It's an hour a month where you intentionally come together with other like-minded people with a bit of inspiration, a bit of community around it. And also the allotted time. There is something about the allotted time. Oh, it's like the gentleman with his morning of correspondence. Well, this is your correspondence hour every month.
Yeah.
Where you write letters. I just, there's something really lovely about it that kind of really hits me emotionally.
Yeah.
It's not just a kind of intellectual enterprise somehow. It feels very real and very emotional and needed and resonant and kind of just lovely and just ties in with what I believe about presence and attention. So that's what I'm wanting to do.
Yeah, and it feels to me that it's not fixed on outcome. It's
Not
about
at
coming
all.
together.
Exactly. You're just sending it off, and you don't, and also you don't have to send it off. That's the other thing.
Right.
You can
Yeah.
come and write a letter to somebody that you're never going to send, or you forget to send. It's not about being productive. That's the other thing. It's about writing outside of productivity, outside of expectation. It's not about word count. It's about nothing. It's about connection with yourself and to somebody else and with somebody else, who you may even or may not even know. You can also choose to write to somebody down the road who's alone, or whatever. It doesn't matter. I think that's the thing. Just to take writing back to a moment of intimacy and origin, and, as I said, it's invitational. It's that invitational, open, capacious energy that you want to bring to it.
Which is beautiful, because so much of writing, certainly when we come together, so much is about outcome and about productivity, and of course all those things.
Output and content. It's the opposite of content, the opposite of output, the opposite of, and you're writing it for one person. So you're not looking for likes and how many people liked this and saw this. One person saw it, one person liked it.
That's it. Beautiful.
That's it. Isn't that
a
relief?
Such a relief.
A relief.
Oh my
Isn't
God.
that what it is? Yeah.
You won't get any followers.
No. You don't want anyone. If someone's following that letter, they're a stalker. You just it's outside of all that
stuff,
grasping and grifting, and it's exhausting.
Yeah.
And this is one person to one person, and they will like it with their whole heart, and
they will like it with their whole
body
heart.
and their neurons firing while they're reading, and it's just a lovely, lovely thing. Yeah.
It's beautiful. So for writers and for not writers, for people looking for space, for people who want to start writing letters, for people who are in the middle of a novel and they're stuck and they think this will help. It's for that's how wide and
it's a very
inclusive
wide entry point. Yeah,
it's very, very wide. It's
super
beautiful.
Generous. Yeah. Like turn up and have a go. It's that kind of thing.
Yeah, and see what happens.
Yeah.
So beautiful. I think it just makes my heart.
Thanks, Ellie. Thank you. You're a sweetheart. Thank you, love.
So are you. All right, my darling. Okay, we are at time. Thanks everybody for joining us. Thank you, Fiona.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Ellie.
I will write and we'll be in touch.
I'll wait by the letterbox.
Yes. Okay. Mwah. I love you, my darling.
Lots of love.
Okay.
And thank you, everyone. Okay. Bye.
Bye.